Sanadia, the over-intrusive parent of some player. I mean, if it's a tennis parent and you're the coach, yeah, can you deal with the guy? It's kind of one-on-one. Some weird Slovakian starts waving a sword in your face and suggesting, as our good friend Joe Casal mentioned, that when he was a sports agent, a guy actually waved a sword in his face and said, "If you don't get my daughter a shoe deal, I'm going to chop your head off." Now, that's a little invasive, is it not? If you're the parent that's going to be influential, we all know about the proverbial mentioning the Little League. Again, the Little League parent. What was worse than that, Lubie?
Worse. Oh, no. The fact that they actually get into fist fights now is something I never imagined when I was a little kid.
Come out and tackle umpires. They do all kinds of crazy stuff. It was annoying. That was the best part about the fact that neither my mother or father really knew anything about sports. I still will never forget, literally, Lubie, getting shelled by the Massapequa All-Star team. Getting shelled. I can't get anybody out. So I'm rearing back and I'm firing. And literally, Lubie, I nearly snapped my neck watching these balls fly out of the park. So I'm down 11-0 after 2 innings, something along those lines. And I actually said to the coach, "Hey, listen, I can't get anybody out. You got to put somebody else in." He said, "You're all we got." Finally, after losing 27-3 or something in that category, I come up, and I'm riding home, and my father says to me, "You look great out there tonight." And I thought that's a lot better than what others, some of these other parents are probably feeding their kids at this point.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Very pleasant. Good morning, everybody. Good to be with you on this Wednesday edition of the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest. We got a very, alert-looking Mike Lubie. Early in the morning, with no doubt gargling with Visine after watching all of this sports overload that we've been experiencing. First-round games in the NBA. There were plenty of those last night. A lot of NHL hockey going on. We have a big one coming up tonight in that Tampa Bay Florida Panthers rivalry. News there as well as Aaron Ekblad has been suspended, Lubie. This is the weirdest thing about the NHL. They go back, like you said, it's kind of a weird rule where a team is offsides, but the play continues for another half an hour. And then they go back and they put that time back on the clock. And that happened in the Panther Lightning series on a goal that was eventually disallowed. And now, you had two officials really staring right at this play. Now, any chump that never watched a single second of hockey would have thought, that can't be legal. That doesn't look right. Where Aaron Ekblad takes out Brandon Hagel, who had done the very same thing. The moves, I think if you track them with video, the moves were very similar, I thought. You disputed that yesterday, Lubie. I would disagree.
I think it was douchey. I think he deserved to get a penalty and even be suspended. I don't think it had the vitriol and ferocity. Well, look, it was a form. So it was bad. Don't get me wrong what Ekblad did. But what Hagel did to me, I don't know, leaving the ice, launching yourself, going right at Barkov, who wasn't even in the play. He wasn't looking for anything at all. I don't know. It seemed a little bit more ferocious. But the NHL agreed with you, actually.
Well, I didn't think that Ekblad's hit was any worse than Hagel, but it was very similar. I mean, a shot to the head as you're coming sort of from a blind side. It was awful what Hagel did to Barkov. That was pathetic. He gets a 1-game suspension. And then the reciprocation, which I don't know. I mean, was that just a reciprocal move? That's what happens in the NHL, although they had already done a number with Kachuk. And there's been all kinds of as they would say, I don't know. I don't really like this term, that extracurricular activity, when they start talking about just illegal cheap shots and blatant over physicality in a game that already is physical to begin with. But 2-game suspension for Ekblad has some significance because that's kind of the theme of the day, Lubie, is it not? If I talked to one person yesterday about the Pistons game against the Knicks in the series, everybody had closed the book on this series. And if you think about it, and you're a big believer in NBA conspiracy theories, which you subscribe to some of them, I think, Lubie. I don't know. You don't always buy it, but it does seem like. Look, was the draft lottery rigged?
Yes.
The year that Patrick Ewing went to the Knicks?
Yes.
Nobody saw any ping pong balls.
Yeah. Nah, that
voting
one
machines out of Pennsylvania that Elon Musk had his hands on. And the next thing you know, the Knicks have Patrick Ewing. So a franchise that was floundering ends up with a superstar talent that was going to keep them at or near the top of the pack for some time. And a lot of people thought, well, geez, you know what? That was a very sweet arrangement that was made. In this case, though, when you look at the incentive that the networks who are pouring all of this money into the NBA, and the ratings are poor for NBA regular season, I'm thinking they're probably doing much better in the playoffs. I think our good friend, the TV critic himself, Mr. Jim Sarney, who is loaded with more minutia facts than just about anybody that we know.
Amazing.
I opened up my text this morning. I'm thinking, who's texting me at like 5 a.m? And it's Jim Sarney with 100 related stories about how chicken is becoming the big thing in fast food places.
Do anything.
What is this guy smoking? I want some of it. I really do. I need some of that herb. It's just like when we had the interview with Rodman at the Bamboo Beach Tiki Bar, Dennis Rodman. And this guy was, I mean, floating on a cloud that I think, a cloud of euphoria that I didn't even think Timothy Leary ever experienced. And I thought, whatever drug he's on, I want some of that.
Yes.
Not that I need it to be happy, but let's face it, a little bit of enhancement here and there can certainly get you over the fact that you're dead broke and you're dying to get your hands on some capital so you can bet the Kentucky Derby this week. But if it was one person I talked to, it was probably, I mean, how many people did I talk to realistically yesterday? Could I say 100? No. But whoever I talked to about the Knicks and Pistons series, which seemed to be on people's minds that were following sports, everybody thought it was over, right? And the networks would have great incentive to see the Knicks play Boston in the next round. You already have the second round set on one half of the Eastern Conference bracket as Indiana prevail, and that was a wild game.
That was crazy.
Not being dead yet. But the comeback in overtime, 8 points down, 40 seconds to go. Was it 7 points down? Yeah, 7, I think. 7 or 8. It was Reggie Miller City. I believe it might have been 8 points. Milwaukee, after Doc Rivers had made the bold statement that we're not dead yet. This is the theme of the day. We're not dead yet, Lubie. Rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated, although I don't know that I would welcome it. I want to live every single day that I've got on the planet here, but every now and then that dark cloud is hovering so heavily, like it was over the Miami Heat the other day, where even in Palm Beach, people were complaining about the stench that was starting to maneuver its way up north in the aftermath and the wake, which is the appropriate term of Miami's exit from the playoffs. But not that was unanticipated. Detroit and the Knicks, as much as people try to make the case, Lubie, and I know we did here, that this would be a competitive series, in your wildest imagination, could you have figured this? Were it not for... And you can point to a million different plays and incidents, and I understand all of that. I mean, that was the biggest thing about the arguments about the University of Miami, Ohio State college championship game, the one with Terry Porter where he ran across the field and called a penalty on a play that would have ended the ball game, and Ohio State came back and win. Still remember Paul D., the athletic director for the University of Miami. He's running down on the field in celebration. They douse him with Gatorade, and the next thing you know, just like with Bobby Bowden when one of those field goals went wide left in a national championship game, they had to dry the guy off. They got like blow dryers out there, leaf blowers, blowing the guy because he's sopping wet, and he's going to be sopping wet while observing and experiencing and getting hit with a brutal loss. Now, you would have to say that going down 3-1 and going back to Madison Square Garden for the Detroit Pistons on a play where one official, the lead official who admitted that it was a mistake.
Yep.
I don't know. Can we blame him for missing that and not blowing the whistle? The natural tendency would be to think if you were an official, I'm not going to give a guy a cheap call, a Jalen Brunson type of call, which they would have given Brunson, of course.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is Brunson would have gotten it.
Yeah.
That's
Brunson would not have even been brushed. They
There was
would have blown on Brunson. He would have fallen into the stands there. He lands in the lap of Tracy Morgan or some celebrity if it was in New York. And next thing you know, he's at the stripe, putting calmly down 2 free throws as Mr. Clutch. Although I don't know that I put Jalen Brunson in the same category as Jerry West, but he did win Clutch Player of the Year. But all that being said, I mean, by all rights, Detroit should have been in this game last night with a 2-2 dead heat and a chance to go up 3-2. Instead, they're playing for their salvation, for their playoff lives.
Mm-hmm.
And they come up with a win. Nobody expected that, Movie. 5.5 point favorites, the New York Knicks. That was very tempting to take. But money line Detroit Pistons last night, and a hotly contested, real
Yes.
entertaining basketball game
Great
all the
game.
way through. Cade Cunningham, it's interesting because Cade Cunningham now has emerged as a star in the NBA. He still doesn't get spoken about very much, does he? I mean, you get a lot of attention for Anthony Edwards as the new face of the league. Halliburton is getting a lot of attention after what he did last night and what he did last year. It was great and well deserved. But I remember when the Pistons, I thought they had suffered from Elgin Baylor syndrome, which, if you're new to the show, Elgin Baylor, of course, was famous for being the representative of the Clippers at the draft lottery show, which is probably, if Jim Gray hadn't done that thing with LeBron the first 59 minutes before LeBron made the announcement that he was coming to the Miami Heat, if he hadn't done the decision, then you would have to say that, and certainly on a consistent basis, the most boring 15 minutes of television. Is it not, Lubie? I mean, am I lying about this? Is the draft lottery being conducted by the NBA? When do they do it? At halftime of a game? Is it? Yeah, they're still playing in June. Do they do it at halftime of a game? When they hold the draft lottery?
Well, now they usually do it now. They used to do it like halftime of a game. Now I think they do it before games start, and they try to make it a whole thing. And
there's
like,
no way to make that interesting. It's just not.
It's stupid. Yes, I don't think I've ever watched it, but they try to make it a 30-minute TV show now.
It drags. I mean, like, when Geraldo had a couple of bricks there, when he was trying to find Al Capone's tomb, and you're sitting there for an hour and a half, and they found like a dead mouse and 2 cans of baked beans. I'm like, well, where's the connection to Capone and this, gangster world that he was leading? None. You got none of that. But the draft lottery show was always just hideous television. So cumbersome and boring that you're asking yourself, well, what is my life worth if I'm watching this? And Baylor, of course, no matter what horrendous record the Clippers had accomplished during the season, and no matter how many more ping pong balls they had in the bin than everybody else, they always got hosed when it came to the NBA draft lottery. And there would be Baylor sitting there. Elgin Baylor, the great Elgin Baylor. What a disgrace to subject this man to this kind of humility.
Well, look, they would never get the number one pick, and then like the one time they had the number one pick, the best players, Michael Olowokandi.
Yeah.
They would always, it's like what happened to I guess is what you're alluding to now. Like Detroit sort of been in that.
Detroit's the new Baylor. Yeah, exactly. The new Clippers.
4th and 6th pick, and then they get a 1 pick when it's a guy like Cade Cunningham, who's a nice player, but it's not a Wemby. It's not a Cooper Flag. It's not even a Zion or a Morant, like guys that are going to be franchise players. It was a guy that is like, okay.
Well, I'm not even sure about him. He averaged 20 points a game freshman year at Oklahoma State, and it looked like a decent player.
Nice player, yeah.
And they had the 1-year college experience. He played 27 college games, comes in as the number 1 pick. Now, when you go back and track a little history there, Lubie, and you look at that draft, it wasn't as horrendous as I thought.
Okay.
Because the 2nd pick was Jalen Green, who, of course, has emerged as somewhat of a rising star with the Houston Rockets, although there have been some questions about his performance so far as the Rockets are 3-1 down to Golden State. Evan Mobley, who was named the Defensive Player of the Year and a key cog in the Cleveland Cavaliers' rise to the top of the Eastern Conference, if they can sustain that. He was number 3. So 1, 2, and 3 really weren't too bad.
They're good players, yeah.
Cunningham probably, would you say he's the best of those 3?
Well, he's a legit number 1. Like Mobley is finally showing himself to be like a 3rd guy on a contender. And Green, we don't know. Green has a lot of talent, and the Rockets could use it right now.
Yes, he really needs to come to number 8 pick in that draft was Franz Wagner.
Oh, he's been nice. He's become a nice number 2 for the Magic. They just need a 3rd guy. They're probably taking a 3rd guy.
By the way, did the Magic come out of the locker room for the second half of that game against Boston last night? I'm looking, going, hey, this is remarkable. This is all under the theme of we're not dead yet, which is what happened with Detroit. They're not dead yet, Lubie. Not dead yet. Doc Rivers was implying that Milwaukee was not dead yet. Dead. Finished. And it helps your whole quest in life, which is to see Giannis Antetokounmpo in a Miami Heat uniform. He would not address his future with the Milwaukee Bucks. What do you think?
Well, I mean, he's not there. I don't know. Well, they don't want to get rid of him, I'm sure. The problem is, I think Dame has another year on the deal, and he now has a torn Achilles. So in his like late 30s, I mean, he's done. He's never going to be. He's going to miss a year, and then when he's back, he's never going to be the same. And you have so much money, and those guys have super maxes. Like you don't like. There's not room to get other people, and they don't have any pieces anyone wants. So and they don't have draft picks because remember they've made all these trades and moves and gotten rid of draft picks. Like they can't get better. He can stay there and be a martyr, but like, what is he staying there for? He's not winning again. This is now
you're a fan in Milwaukee. Go ahead.
This is now 3 straight years they've lost in the first round. Like if you're a top 5 player, you should be able to carry your team. Look, Jimmy Butler was able to take the Heat to finals. Like Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's a top. And look, there's other guys now. So maybe he's top 5 now. He's not top 3 anymore. I don't know where you put him. Like that guy should be able to get out of the first round in the Eastern Conference. Like 3 years in a row, they lose in the first round. Like
no matter who they put around him.
You're not. Well, no, that's the problem.
He wasn't a bad supporting cast guy.
It's the 3 years they messed with It's. I mean, like they messed with things, and since they started messing with things, they've gotten worse, not better.
Coaching situation has been a revolving door. If Budenholzer there, they get rid of him. They bring in Doc Rivers. Hasn't really worked out. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I feel it. If you're a fan of Milwaukee right now, where you're hoping the Packers continue their rise,
yeah, exactly,
in this move forward, and you're hoping the Brewers can overcome the loss of Craig Counsell.
Yeah.
All right, we have a lot to get to, but not dead yet. And you wouldn't have given 2 cents. I mean, everybody's lined up there. We're ready to celebrate. You had all the stars. Tracy Morgan's there. He's not throwing up. He might have been after the game, though, when he saw what happened with Detroit. So they hang in there. Is there any chance? I can't imagine that some network executive isn't on the phone right now with Adam Silver saying, this better not happen, Adam.
I mean, the Knicks are winning the series, but I think it's cool that they were able to extend it. The Magic, for a half, looked like they may do it. And then I went to bed and
they must have scored 4 points in the second half. Weren't they leading like 70 to something? I don't know.
They were in the game into the third quarter, and then I woke up, I'm like 30.
Hockey was crazy last night too, but we have a big agenda here on the program in terms of people that are going to appear on the show, and we're always happy to introduce this gentleman. Later on, Scoop Skolnick on the NBA playoffs, and we'll get into that. You had wild double overtime games in hockey last night. A couple of teams eliminated from the first round. You still have this bloodbath coming up again tonight, which I think people are going to be tuned into. Is Winnipeg going to choke? Continuing the curse of the President's Cup, President's Trophy winner, where the President's Trophy winner, most points in the NHL, never gets to the championship. Okay. And then Washington can close out Montreal tonight on the home ice. So a lot of stuff going on there. Ottawa, is Toronto going to
yeah, what happened?
Now it's 3-2. And Carolina, that was a wild game. Remember Jacob Markstrom when he was with the Panthers,
yes.
Louis?
He was supposed to be like a next guy before Spencer Knight was supposed to be the next guy.
This was a crazy game. And the Jersey Devils get up 3-0. I don't know if they made it to 4-0, but Carolina comes back with 4 goals in the second period. It's faux. It's Moses Malone time. And then Markstrom makes 38 straight incredible saves.
Jesus.
After giving up 4 goals, like he was a sieve in the second period. And after that, and he was Ken Dryden. He was unbelievable. Yeah. And they finally wore him down. I mean, the pressure that was on this guy was incredible. Just good stuff. Even if you went through, 100 minutes of hockey is a lot of hockey to watch. We welcome to the show, though, the great one himself, iconic broadcaster. I mean, this guy's legend is beyond legend. It's incredible. Yes. And as we often say, he's too humble to say that Ann Bishop is still rolling over in her grave going, how did he beat me in a race?
I love Ann Bishop.
Who is this guy? Ralph Rennick? It's Tony Segreto. Joins us on the show.
Good morning. Lubie, how are you? Thank you for sending the pictures yesterday.
You're welcome, sir. Good morning, Mr. Segreto. Welcome. Nice to see you, sir, in the middle of playoff action. I guess I'm trying to think of a good descriptor for what's going on. The place.
I'm interested in the playoffs. I am. And but I gotta tell you, I have been, my daughter is at the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Great.
She turned me on to the Race for the Crown.
Oh, that's a great series.
It was on Netflix.
Defo's been talking about it for like 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
I binge watched that as soon as it came out.
Defo's like one of the promoters.
Well, you've been involved in many documentaries and made them. You've been a person that appeared in documentaries about various topics and subjects in sports. And I love a well-made documentary.
Oh, that's really
And
well
this
made.
was every bit of that. And they do a great job, no matter what sport they're covering. I mean, it's not like you're getting deep into any kind of negativity and topics. They didn't really dwell on the horse death thing or any of that stuff. So it's kind of upbeat, and I like it. Not that I want to ignore, some of the things that go on in sport that aren't necessarily so flattering, but the way they did it was phenomenal. It was
Phenomenal.
absolutely great.
Phenomenal. I want to see it again. You
Yeah.
know? I want to see it. The race for the crown. The title of it is something that just draws you in. So yeah, it's good. And I'm looking at the post positions now, and I got to tell you, journalism's hard to beat, but. Look at sovereignty and horses like Sandman and horses like that. You gotta think about them. So hey, good morning.
Yeah, hey, how are you? Wide open race. Yeah, and look, there are going to be bombs in there. There are a lot of different theories. Actually, if you guys want some great insight into it, we did our conversation show yesterday with Kate and Bradar and Larry Colmus, who you'll appreciate, became the voice of the Triple Crown for NBC. Tom Durkin. And it was interesting because Tom Durkin actually left the job. Here's the great Tom Durkin. Think about this, Tony. I don't know if you never had any performance anxiety, did you? Not in the bedroom, but I mean, in terms of going on. You don't care. You're sitting down.
I didn't have any there either. I don't have any there.
I don't. I didn't.
Well, you're Italian. I mean,
ready?
That would be a very difficult thing to admit to if it was the case.
Oh my God!
What guy is going to say, "Hey, listen, I suck in the bedroom"? I mean, very few people. Oh yeah.
We know Lubie doesn't.
Yeah,
No, Lubie's got it going on. We know that. The time I saw that station wagon shaking in the circular driveway at the Ocean Manor Hotel, and Lubie had picked up this girl on a beach, and literally, I mean, as this car is shaking, I'm thinking, well, geez, what's wrong with the engine there? And then the door opens, and out pops Lubie, all disheveled.
Oh my God!
And the girl drove off.
I've done that.
Tony,
Yeah. All right, we don't want to talk about our sexual exploits here on the program. Yeah, the Kentucky Derby, it's conversations. It's up there on Bleacher Brothers and YouTube, and you can catch it. I popped it up on a Facebook page. Kate Bradar and Larry Colmus, great. But Colmus was saying that Tom Durkin, who I knew, you remember Tom Durkin when he was calling races in Hialeah?
Very well.
And he had just sort of finished up a job with, which at the time, this was not considered any major racetrack. It still would be kind of second tier, Tampa Bay Downs, although it's a very nice place to go. I did some work there. And Durkin had been calling races at Tampa Bay Downs and then got the job at Hialeah. And he was brilliant. You could tell right away, wow, this guy has a gift that you can't even imagine. But I didn't realize this. He suffered from, just an incredible performance anxiety in terms of his nervousness about doing the job right.
Every race.
I don't know about before every race, but that's why he left doing the Kentucky Derby, which he had been doing. He was the NBC race caller. They don't use the local announcer for some reason, which I sort of would be a fan of that. Too. But they want to have one universal voice. I understand that. It's network branding or whatever. I don't know. And maybe it's just easier in terms of I can't imagine it's easier in terms of executing the telecast.
Great respect. Those guys just marvel me because, I mean, every sport, everything is compartmentalized. But horse racing is another animal, no pun intended. Yeah. And it is.
That was a good one, though, Tony. If you were making a pun. Yeah. It's like when you use that ingredients thing in the Texas Roadhouse.
I think the pun intended works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you would.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being pun intended. I think when people would say that. Pun intended.
I understand it now, Tony. I am beginning to understand you after all these years.
Well, I'm glad you do. My wife is still trying to decipher some of the things that I said.
Women will never understand us. Let's face it. And consequently, do we have any idea what the hell they're all about?
Keeps
no,
the mystery.
Nothing.
My mystery is.
There's a lot of mystery.
But
you've coordinated. You've been involved in a lot of network telecasts. I was involved in several, both with horse racing and boxing.
Horse racing is
it's a different animal there. And when it's your time to go, you're calling 20 horses. You got one shot. And the other thing is, it's not like you called a bunch of races before to get in the rhythm.
How they manage the horses and the colors and the jockeys is just really, really something to see.
It's a tough thing to do. Did you ever try it?
No.
Did you ever become a guest announcer, like at the dog races or anything?
No, I've done everything but that.
Okay, yeah, I got a chance to do it once. I've talked about it many times. Being highly critical of horse, race announcers and track announcers, because I, just always loved this kind of genre. Stadium announcers, ring announcers, the whole thing. I blew my one chance. I really did. I mean, the call is horrible that I gave.
Do you still have it on tape?
I did not save that, but somebody found it not that long ago, and I didn't even bother to open up the link. I knew it was a disaster.
You should have, just to go back and listen to it. It may not be.
I remember, when you walk away, sometimes you laid an egg on a show or whatever, or, your newscast didn't go well. There were a lot of technical errors you weren't able to cover for, and then you got discombobulated. Next thing you know, you're making a lot of mistakes. Maybe you say something really stupid. I remember after I was finished, I thought, my God, that was awful. And the terminology has to be in your head if you're calling any kind of sport. You have to have the terminology kind of flowing through. And if it isn't there, even if you know the sport inside and out, it's still not that easy to call.
It's not.
But it is. I mean, look, these guys are great. Coleman was great, but I would have never thought ever that was. I remember Durkin had kind of a blown call of the Derby, and then he just threw in the towel.
That is awesome. That is, that is something that you have to feel really deeply inside of you for him to throw the towel in at the time.
Oh, he was such a perfectionist. I remember even when he first started out, he was always making notes, and he would watch the race back and write down things that he didn't like that he said. So yeah, he was one of those talents that was very. You have people that just sail right through it, and people that agonize over every little detail. And
Sonny Hirsch could do.
Oh, he sailed.
Could do anything. I mean, he could call a race out here in the canal with paper.
He had no flip card, nothing. He didn't even have a roster.
He didn't, but he could call a race. He could call a football game, a baseball game, whatever. But he was one in a million.
He must have had some kind of bizarre memory retention. So yeah, you're right. He may have been a pretty good track announcer. All right, we're going to go old school here with Tony Segreto. It's brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants. Ed Garcia is gallivanting in Las Vegas this week. So he is not going to.
Let's track him down, Lubie.
He's in bed. I don't think we have to look far.
He might not even be in his room yet. What are you talking about? Isn't that great, the suspension of time? I think that's what we're all seeking in life, and that's why Vegas is so great. But Ed's not going to join us. We'll come back and figure out exactly what Tony thinks about a number of things. And then about 8:45, Scoop Skolnick going to be with us here on the show. Ethan Scoop Skolnick, always very informative about the NBA. And I'm sure Lubie's first question will be, when do we sign Giannis? So we'll be back with more in a moment. Now is that ever going to happen? It's 8:34.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453.
What we gonna do right here is go back, way back into time.
We are now kicking it old school with the one and only Tony Segreto. Brought to you by Texas Roadhouse.
Tell me, doctor, where are we?
All right, we have to explore a couple of conspiracy theories with Tony Segreto, who I'm not sure he's a subscriber like I am to matters of the occult when it comes to these sort of things and deciphering exactly what's going on. We got Mike Lubie Lubitz up there in the corner, Tony Segreto, iconic broadcaster. So you would have some idea. I mean, I always used to love it, and it became cliche where you'd go on the air and say, "Well, I tell you what, the network executives are going to be diving out the window if Indiana wins this series." Because everybody's looking for a different matchup or whatever. I mean, I just threw that out as an example, not talking about the Pacers. But do you buy into this? I mean, look, there's zillions of dollars going from the networks. You don't think that somebody puts in a call to Adam Silver at some point? Lubie, I couldn't get him to agree with me on this, and says, make sure that the Knicks are playing the Celtics in round two. Nobody
No question at all.
No question.
At all.
You believe that, like, Rune Arledge would call up and go, listen, if we don't get a couple of calls late in the game, there's going to be hell to pay.
How bad the Knicks are, or how good the Knicks are, or how bad the Celtics are, or how good the Celtics are, they always play in the playoffs. That's just the attraction.
Yeah. I mean, does anybody want to see Celtics Detroit?
Yeah, maybe.
No.
The 80s.
Around the country. I'm rooting for Detroit, even though I grew up a Knick fan. I was a diehard Knick fan. I cried when I found out Dick Barnett checked out the other day. Literally, tears were rolling down my cheeks because of the many times.
I like to see that, Jeff.
Well, I mean, look, we all mimicked his jump shot, and I've been talking about it, not meaning to cross racial lines, but look, every white guy folded his legs up under his jump shot because it looked like at least you were getting off the ground, and that was the signature of the Dick Barnett jumper. But that being said, I love upstart team stories, player stories. I love sometimes when the guy who was written off comes back, and actually, Andre Agassi is a classic example
in the pickleball event. God love him.
Yeah.
God, and he's with Steffi Graf, his wife. I mean,
you haven't taken this up yet, Tony. I mean, because I listen, all respect, I'm glad people are out there doing anything. I don't care what activity you're involved in. As you get older, you realize if you don't start moving your body, it isn't going to be moving anymore. Right? I mean, you're seeing the time just ticking off the clock as you're laying there in bed watching CNN and trying to figure out what's going on in the world. And, or any sporting event that is taking place in another part of the country. And you start thinking, get off your ass and get out there and do something. So I'm all for it because it's brought a lot of people into sports, but I really think it's one of the dumbest games I've ever.
It takes.
I mean, I wouldn't mind playing it, but it just seems like a really dumb game.
A small game like ping pong and puts it on a bigger court,
like stupid ping pong.
And
see, I like that approach and interpretation, Tony, because I keep thinking it's a reduction of tennis.
I think.
But in reality, it's an extension, an extrapolation of ping pong. It's human ping pong on an actual. You're on the table. You're right. Exactly right. Great depiction, Tony Segreto. This is why we have you on the show and why Texas Roadhouse is. No, but you're right. I've been looking at it all wrong. I've been looking at it as if I was throwing in the towel on the desire to run.
I'm glad I've been able to bring something to the table.
See, I was not a tennis guy growing up. We thought it was a game that you got relegated to if your girlfriend forced you to go away from the basketball game you wanted to play in, and then you see two people out there, and they had back when I was first experiencing this. Remember, you had the frame around your wood racket so it wouldn't warp.
I love it.
And no matter
I won the media tournament that they had down here. Yeah,
you did. Get out of here. Where's Jim Berry? Oh, he wasn't around yet.
I beat Chuck Dowdle.
Fialkoff? You didn't beat Harvey Fialkoff.
Yes.
He's good.
Yes.
You beat Fialkoff?
Well, I don't know if he was in it or not, but
all right. Who was in this thing? Ann Bishop? I mean, I keep coming back.
Let her rest in peace, Jeff. Let her.
No, I mean, I have great respect for her. She was good at what she did.
But
You smoked
and
her.
I
You
used
smoked
to
her. You drove her to
I
a
used to hang with Jimmy Connors and Martina and Chris and all those people, and I loved tennis, and yeah, I loved that era of Connors and Agassi, and
Oh yeah.
you know, just made the sport interesting. You know, Agassi's
I think it's always maintained its interest, though.
tantrums.
I really do. It's so amazing now. It's not funny. But what I was going to say was, I mean, if you're a baseball player and you just make perfect contact with a ball, I mean, you don't even, you just know you squished this thing. It's a great feeling, right? And
Even if you hit it to
you know,
somebody, even if you hit it at somebody, you feel good about it.
just the feeling of golf. I mean, a guy, what attracts people to golf? They hit one good shot out of the 120 that they take in a round, and it brings them right back. And they even buy like a new club because they're thinking, but it feels great. And, you know, so, I mean, if you get to do this multiple times, even as an old geezer, and you're out there playing tennis, it sort of gives you that feeling like you went back in time. Whereas I don't know. Do you get that from pickleball? That's more of a.
I don't know.
Have you played this
No.
thing?
Have you?
No. I have not played pickleball, but I'm around it all the time because, you know, getting out there to the tennis courts.
Have you, Lubie?
And
I've never played pickleball. It looks really stupid to me. It just looks dumb.
it looks
It
dumb.
just looks dumb. My dad loves it. My dad, because he played racquetball for years, so it screwed his back up bending down. Like he wasn't really able to play racquetball anymore. So it's been a godsend to him because you don't have to move as much or bend as much. So good for him. For me, it looks so stupid. Like I would play for fun, and if you guys want to go and try it, it looks dumb. Like I went with my nephews, and we were like at the park, and they had people playing. So I was like watching, and I'm like, "This is it. This is the thing." People, and they're like getting really into it. I'm like, "You barely moved the whole. I watched you for 30 minutes. You haven't gone anywhere." Like,
And the ball doesn't bounce. It doesn't bounce. Remember, you would take out a basketball and three guys brought balls to the game, and you would drop them on the ground to see which one had the life in it, the proper amount of air.
The one good thing about it for the older people is that you got to have quick reflexes.
Okay, that's fine. I buy that, and that's why every orthopedic surgeon is handing people a pickleball racket and saying, "Hey, you really ought to take this up. It'll help your knees." Conspiracy theories, Tony. Conspiracy theories. I did want to ask you about one more thing because we got Scoop Skolnick coming up here in a few minutes, or so we think. The Shedeur Sanders story. What were your thoughts on that? Speaking of conspiracies, I mean, first we got like the networks definitely want to see the Knicks go against the Celtics. Otherwise, there go the ratings 0.0.
First of all, Shedeur, I think, will be the starter by, if not mid-season, by.
on the Browns, maybe
we'll be starting for the Browns.
We'll be starting for the Browns.
A fifth-round pick is going to beat out the other 7 guys in the room. That's interesting.
I think
they don't have anybody of significance except Watson. Who? What's his status?
no, he's a mess.
Can't play.
He's just been in and out with injuries, and whenever he plays, he doesn't look good. I mean, he's still on the roster. I think
I think once we got to the third round, and he fell, that everybody started thinking there's something wrong with him. And I would have loved to have been on the phone just to listen, because I guarantee you that all the teams were calling each other about Shedeur Sanders. And finally, in the 5th round, the Browns said, "I'm taking him because he's got to go." But
if you even had like a semblance of a belief that this guy could be an effective backup quarterback, capable backup in the NFL, and you're drafting in this era where the quarterback is beyond, more essential than ever, it seems like. I know that there was a comeback of the running back and its importance to the game last year, but aren't you saying, hey, somewhere around round 3, it's remarkable that there's even a possibility that an NFL quarterback is sitting there, a caliber quarterback?
But when you look at it, Riley Leonard, Dylan Gabriel,
it was a bunch of dudes that
when you were in the 7th round, Kyle
can play in the NFL and went in weird drafts, 100%. Like,
yes.
I mean,
All right, so the question would be though, I mean, do you believe? And Len Robbins actually made a great point on this because I was thinking it was a joke that you couldn't possibly get 32 teams to conspire not to select Shedeur Sanders until the fifth round for whatever reason they had, whether it was to teach Dion a lesson or they didn't like the way the kid approached things. I didn't think you could get all 32 teams to agree to do that, but then he talked about how they all conspired against Colin Kaepernick and kept him out of the league. So
That's
is it possible that that had something to do with it, in your opinion, Tony Segreto? I mean, where they said, listen, nobody touches this guy to the fifth round. After that, it's a free-for-all. As soon as that bell went off, Cleveland trades up and gets the guy. A little mysterious, no?
mysterious, yes. Conspiracy, you gotta sell me. You gotta sell me some more on it.
We've been trying to take you away from your journalistic instincts and just have you embrace pure speculation and garbage on our part throughout the program. Congratulations to you, Tony, for holding your turf here and not losing your integrity by agreeing with any of this, which is is great.
There comes a time when I will, but in this case, 32 teams to conspire. That's a lot.
And just come to an agreement, that they're not going to take the guy in the fifth round. It did. There was a stench, not quite the level of stench that was hovering over the Kaseya Center 2 nights ago with the Miami Heat performance against Cleveland, but there definitely was some kind of a stench hovering over this whole Shedeur Sanders fiasco. So I'm with you. I hope he turns out to be a good quarterback now. I'm actually rooting.
Who do you pick in the Derby?
I don't know that I formulated a definitive opinion. My good friend Jersey Kyle, he's loved Sandman since before Sandman became more of a likely choice after winning the Arkansas Derby. But we had Kate Bradar on, who I have tremendous respect for her opinions, a tremendous handicapper. She's on the backstretch. She has seen these horses evolve from the time they were foals. She was not high on the horse, and neither was Larry Colmus. So I don't know. I mean, if you ask 100 people and nobody mentions your horse, do you eventually have doubts about it, or you just think, hey, no, never mind that. They're all dead wrong. I'm going to send it in on Sandman. I'm not sure. But I'm going to use them in my
You got to have conviction. Who do they like then, those people that you talk to?
Everybody was saying that they think there's a way to beat journalism, the post-time favorite, likely post-time favorite, journalism out of California. And I would tend to agree. I don't know. I mean, journalism comes in off a short but undefeated career and has been overwhelmingly impressive, but got in trouble in a field of 5 in the Santa Anita Derby. I mean, if you're going to get in traffic problems in a field of 5, what's going to happen when they open the gates in a field of 20 at Churchill?
There's a
stampede, literally, to the first turn. And position
if
is
you
so
had to
important.
pick a long shot, who'd you take?
Our friend Pete Aiello, race caller at Gulfstream Park, gave us Cole Battle, I believe is the name of the horse, 30-1 morning line. Cole Battle has a win over Sandman, and I believe it might have got buried. Could be buried in the 1 hole. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I forgot who got the 1 spot. No, that was a Baffert
Citizens
horse.
Bull is on the first.
Yeah. All right. So who you picking, Tony? Because you know what? I'll never forget the day. I never was ready to spit up blood so badly as when you called me and asked me if I could make a bet for you, and I said that I did, and I hadn't. I had booked it, figuring that you were way off on this, and then your horses ran first and third, and had you not gotten beaten by a nose hair for the second position, I would have owed you about $2,500 for the booking.
Yes, you would have.
Booking of that bet.
Yes, you would.
And I would not have been able to pay it. So, so I don't know if I don't know if you ever gave me the 20. So that's the other part of that equation. So, had you not paid the, well, I would have had to give you the money.
There's no
But
way
I never.
around it, Jeff. You would have had to pay me the money.
I would have had to pay you the money. You're right. There was no way around it. And the sad part was all of my bets were completely way off in that race. I believe it was the Preakness many years ago, and I was at Hialeah Park, and you were somewhere in Vermont or wherever you were, and you're watching a race, and I would imagine as your horse was coming on, I was dying because You had already booted home like a $20 winner. This exactor was going to pay at least a couple of $100, and you had
I
it for
learned
20.
that
So,
day never to ask you to make a bet for me.
well, I mean, you should be happy I didn't because it lost. But the reality of how close it came was worse than facing the conspiracy theories about NBC wanting the Knicks against the Celtics and that's why they robbed Detroit in Game 4,
That
putting a completely blind Stevie Wonder official out there who watches this guy fall into the stands, into the lap of Spike Lee, knocked off balance like he was on a unicycle, and the shot goes up. It's an air ball, but he should have been at the stripe. 3 to make 2 to win the game. I mean, that would have been what a difference,
yes,
huh?
What a difference.
They'd be up 3-2.
They would have had to reduce the price of the commercials. Let's face it, this whole thing is stupid. Why do we spend time analyzing?
Oh God! Thank you guys very much, because I look forward to this show because I laugh more than anything else.
We should do something.
Yeah, no, it's the approach. It's all about your approach. That's for sure. All right, Tony, we love you at Texas Roadhouse Restaurants, of course. We weren't able to connect with Ed Garcia today. Scoop Skolnick looks like a little bit of a shine job, at least according to Lubie. So we will continue, though, and we want to say thank you, Tony. Did you have any opinion other than Shedeur Sanders on the draft, or are you like me at this point where you realize it's a futile conversation for the most part because it's going to take 3-4 years for anybody to actually know. It's a futile
conversation. I think we're starting to see more and more offensive and defensive linemen going in the first and second round.
Yeah.
Well, that's where you're winning games, as we've seen. Look at Philadelphia. I mean, what was it, a couple of years ago when they lost in the Super Bowl and you thought they had the best offensive line and defensive line? So it's no surprise that they're there. It's you want to be a big fat guy. Remember when people used to laugh at them? They never got the girls. Right? They got the leftovers, the seconds from the quarterback and the running back and whoever was the big star linebacker.
Be a football hero to be in love with a beautiful girl.
Well, and we always used to gravitate towards the offensive linemen, though. They were always the sharpest guys. And they were willing to talk because nobody ever wanted to talk to them. So that was all part of it. All right, Tony, we love you, man. Thanks so much for being with us. Tony Segreto, ladies and gentlemen, the great Tony Segreto. So he wasn't buying any of that crap.
He was in the middle on it.
He was sort of subscribed
to believe that they want them to get there.
TV thing.
I believe that they want them to get there. He wouldn't admit to them actually doing things to get them there, which I agree. Look, of course you have if you can get Knicks Celtics as a second round matchup, then you can have whatever the Cavs market is. The Cavs have been the number 1 seed, right? So we've seen in basketball, you can have a small market that hit, like the Pacers. The problem for the Pacers is they're a small market and they don't have any. I know we who watch sports for a living know who Halliburton is, but most people don't know who Halliburton is. The passing fan.
And do they have any other fans outside of?
No, the passing fan has seen Donovan Mitchell though, so you can get. And the Cavs have been good all year, so they are the number 1 seed. So in the conference final, to see the Celtics, the blue blood versus the Cavs, is a really nice matchup following the Knicks Celtics. But to get Knicks Celtics, old school, 2 of the top 6 markets in the country in the second round, and they're both competitive teams. It's not like a few years ago where the Celtics would house the Knicks. Like the Knicks, I don't like their roster. I think it's weirdly put together, and I think their coach is there to try and kill them. But I do admit they have enough talent where they'll push this. Like the Celtics won't beat them in 5 or 4. Like the Knicks should take it 6, maybe 7. And they have their home court advantage is like the Bulls in the 90s. Like to get out of New York, what the Pistons did last night is miraculous. Like the way the refs are so on the Knicks side, anytime the Knicks are at home.
Although I think the Pistons got more free throws.
Well, because the Knicks shoot jumpers all day. That's what's amazing. Like the Knicks will just Brunson just lives in the perimeter and shoots 15 free throws. It's like, how the hell does, and he's little.
He drives, he penetrates. Brunson. He's got all those wild moves and the hesitation and the double head fakes and traveling, of course.
falls down.
Yeah, and Kumpo had a play that they had on the highlights on ESPN that I'm watching last night. He did one of those things that Dr. J did when he had that famous dunk in the dunk competition. Jordan, the same thing, where they take off from the top of the key.
Never dribble again.
And, never take a dribble. How many? That's 20 feet. How many steps do you really have to take to travel 20 and traverse 20 feet, Lubie? You got to take a lot. That's a lot of mileage.
At least 5 steps. At least 5 steps, sir. But
all right. Well, this is all interesting. I mean, blowout city is what South Florida's become. The Marlins got blown out last night, 15-2. The Dodgers and the Yankees in Major League Baseball. Second time this season they've had their first 3 hitters hit home runs. First time was that on opening day. It was either opening day or shortly thereafter, where they all hit home runs on the first pitch delivered. 3 straight pitches, 3 straight home runs. Unprecedented in the history of Major League Baseball. And now the Yankees become the first team ever to start a ball game twice in the same season with 3 home runs. They pounded the Baltimore Orioles yesterday. Final there was 15-3. These torpedo bats, why wouldn't everybody be using them?
At some point they will. Yeah.
Why not just bring an oar up to the plate?
That's what it feels like. Look, I get it's supposedly legal. I still don't get if it's legal, why it took all the way till now for someone to figure out.
Is it harder to find a court? What do you think? I mean,
I think the whole thing's ridiculous, but it's clear. Look, I get the Yankees had pop and they hit a lot of homers last year. Jazz Chisholm doesn't hit homers the way he's hitting. I'm sorry. And he can be defensive and guilt-ridden and talk out of his ass all he wants. I watched him here for years. The dude doesn't hit home. Even when he was healthy and playing well and getting on covers of things, he wasn't hitting home runs.
If he gets 20, that's a good season for a guy like that.
I'm sorry. Yeah. And look, everyone will use it, and then everyone will it'll just add to the game that's boom or bust. Like, it's not correcting the issues that ail baseball.
Although a unique thing happened yesterday, especially by today's standards. I believe it was the Chicago Cubs that did not have a single guy strike out in their game yesterday.
Really?
Chicago Cubs. I want to say it was the Cubs.
The whole game?
I believe they beat Pittsburgh 9-0, and I think I saw on a crawl. I know it was somebody in Major League Baseball. I want to say it was the Cubs. Did not have a single hitter strike out. And that's like the first time that's happened for their franchise since 1908, the last time they won a World Series. But, when you're watching, like, relief pitchers hit balls out of the park for the Yankees, Hal Reniff could come back from the grave and hit a home run with these torpedo bats. It's pretty amazing. So that was going on. But meanwhile, the Dodgers clobbered your Marlins, who are starting to show signs of falling apart, having lost 4 in a row, 12-17 now. Dodgers 15, Miami 2. This is not a good omen, though, Lubie, or maybe it is. You have Sandy Alcantara, who was somewhat impressive in his first start. Now, I haven't followed it all the way through. Alcantara would be significant to people around the country because you would imagine that anybody that thought they needed a starting pitcher would offer the Marlins a bag of popcorn and 2 torpedo bats. And this Bendix guy will go ahead and say, yeah, sure. Alcantara, you want somebody else? You want Conine's kid? We'll even throw in the bobbleheads we had left over from Conine's bobblehead day back in the 90s. So anyway, he's getting rocked. All of a sudden, he gives up 7 hits in 2 2/3, 7 runs, walked 5, and has an earned run average that really does look like an alarming number. That number where you have this happen to you after a blood test and you're at the doctor's office, they give you the eye. We're going to do something about this? What do you want me to do about it? I can't lose 50 pounds while I'm sitting on your table.
Exactly.
What do they want you to do, Lubie? What do they want you to do? You're trying everything you can to stay in some kind of shape. But Alcantara now, I mean, does that make him more attractive?
No. It's 2 years in a row now.
Because you're thinking, hey, he's coming back from the old Tommy John.
Yes.
And not looking so great. It's not like he came back like Johnny Smalls.
Before the injury, he was pitching bad, but then he was hurt. So you're like, okay, maybe that's why he was pitching poorly. He's back, and he's still pitching poorly. It's not great. I mean, whether this
was atrocious.
Whether to keep him or to trade him, it's not helping the situation out at all.
I'm a big fan of Alcantara. I mean, I really like him. He seems like a humble guy who is deserving of star stature. You want a Cy Young
it was the
award.
Panthers with all, and for a short period of time, a team that's lost a lot more than it's won. It's had a lot of really interesting pitchers, and it's their first Cy Young. Like he won their first Cy Young. Like none of the other guys, all the other guys had struggles in the regular season and were great playoff pitchers. Like he won and was in an anonymity. Like I didn't realize he had that good of a year. The year he won the Cy Young because they were horrible that year.
I mean he was great. He really was. But and that was the big question going in. One of the big questions going into the Major League season. Of course, the Marlins are going to ship off anybody that they can. So I mean, why would you even have? I mean, this is a thing about this whole tanking business that goes on into perpetuity. At least keep the one. That's what fans start screaming about. Keep the one guy that we have, right? I mean, it would be like they traded Jose Fernandez, who unfortunately passed away. You have to keep that guy. I don't care. Stanton, send them to the Yankees to be a cripple over there. Ozuna's still hitting home runs. I mean, nobody talks about Marcell Ozuna. St. Louis hasn't been a very good team, or rather, who's he with now? Philadelphia.
Braves. I don't know.
Braves. The Braves. That's right. Like, Braves. I had everybody in the league.
40 home run guys or something last year. I don't know if he's still there because I know the Braves.
I think he's doing real well this year. I want to say yes to that. He's hitting a bunch of home runs, and the Braves have rebounded from the grave. Not dead yet. That was the theme of the show, Lubie. Not dead yet. So are the Pistons dead, regardless of the fact
series,
that they beat the Knicks last night? And look what they were facing. I mean, Seinfeld is there. You had Carmelo sitting there in the crowd, McEnroe, Jonathan Turro, Kanish.
Oh, they thought they were going to wrap up. I didn't even think about that. There's always celebrities here, but you're right. There was like an inordinate amount. They were just expecting them to. I guess they haven't watched this series. The Pistons should be up.
Everybody who never appeared in a television show or in a movie.
I didn't even think about. Yeah, they were just expecting them to wrap. Well, look, they should have wrapped it up.
You had a minor.
I just didn't. I didn't look. The series has been weird. Like the Pistons, to me, the Pistons actually have more talent. The Pistons and the Rockets are very similar to me, where the drafting in the lottery for 10 years finally worked out because their rosters are full of really good talent. They're just so young, they can't close it out. Like the Rockets should have closed out a couple games versus the Warriors that they weren't able to because the Warriors have the vets, right? And the Pistons should have closed out a couple games versus the Knicks, but the Knicks have the vets. And like closing out series in the NBA especially is really hard to do. We've seen it in hockey as well. Like those two,
especially when the sixth man on the floor are the officials.
Well, that is a whole nother world.
And Silver's on the phone with some executive from TNT going, I know you're not going to have basketball anymore. I'm trying to do what I can. Huh? What do you want?
I don't know. We'll see. I think the Pistons should make it interesting, but the Knicks just have too much for this series, at least.
Yeah. All right, we'll see. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns, when the Knicks picked him up, I thought that was the old, I would have to say missing piece, right? Because if you say missing link, somebody will misconstrue that. Next thing you know, you're in a jackpot. Bleacher Brothers is getting litigation. We don't want any of that trouble for AJ. All right, quick thought on the pucks here, Lubie, and then we'll get out of here. Is Toronto going to choke that series away to Ottawa? Toronto, Ottawa. I know you probably haven't seen much, but
yesterday I'm rooting on Toronto, like I told you. Like it's cool to see them do something, and they got blasted.
They called when they faced the Panthers in the next round, and they called them out. Who was talking about that with us on the show? Somebody. And it was my friend Rod Peterson on our conversation show. Came on, talked a little hockey. Guy was great too because he's right in there. He's going to all of these games. He goes to the games in Tampa too. The Panther series against the Lightning, and was really plugged in. And he was saying that Toronto, you don't necessarily want to get what you wish for if you have the Panthers in the second round. And then the next thing you know, they're choking against Ottawa. They lose 2 games straight. So we'll see if they can prevail. Tonight, Washington can wrap it up against Montreal. I don't know. I mean, would I be a complete fraud if I said I had an opinion on that game? I'm thinking Washington is the better team. They probably wrap it up tonight. Montreal just snuck in.
I agree with you on that one.
How do we know, though?
Look, they set the world afire all year. People and Ovechkin's had a resurgence the last 2-3 years. They've sort of fallen off. Like,
yeah,
I know people don't expect them to win it, but I think they're going to coast in this first round. They actually have the rare easy matchup in the Eastern Conference. Like the Panthers, every freaking year, no matter how good they are, every team they face is a goddamn contender. Like the Canadians are not. Like the Capitals got a nice matchup there, and it feels like they're taking it seriously. They're not messing with it.
Will the curse continue? The President's Trophy curse. Winnipeg 2-2 at St. Louis. They won the first two games. Looked like they were sailing through the first round. St. Louis, the Blues come back. Blues late in the season had a 12-game winning streak, and I think after that though they went into the tank for a few games, and people lost the respect for their chances of beating the number one seed out of the Eastern Conference, or out of the Western Conference. But Winnipeg 2-2 now with St. Louis, and they host them tonight. Edmonton, LA Kings, interesting series. The Kings win the first two games. Edmonton storm back, won the next three. And Vegas last night beats Minnesota 3-2. And a Carolina game against New Jersey. That if you were going to watch 0-0 hockey for about three periods after the game was already 4-4, that was it was interesting because Jacob Markstrom, how do you do that? He fell completely apart. That this guy couldn't stop a watermelon in the second period. And you're looking at that going, okay, Carolina, a lot of people always like Carolina. I think I cleverly give them out as my sleeper team. Don't I do that every year, Lubie, just in case they win?
Yes, you do.
Hey, you see? Who doesn't know hockey? Nobody, right? What do you think tonight, though? The key game we'll be zeroed in on here in our hometown, South Florida. Of course, big Panther backers, but I have great respect for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Do they come back off of that devastating loss that they suffered in game number 4 to go down 3-1? No Ekblad, 2-game suspension. Does that seem a little unfair? And do the Lightning take advantage of that and the desperation of the situation and what could turn out to be a very pivotal game? They're either out of the series or they're back in it. 3-2 down, going back to the other team's home ice. Home ice has been holding up in the postseason so far. So I mean, look, the odds are overwhelming against them. Tampa Bay coming all the way back in a series. Is that a fair
look,
statement?
I at this point see the Panthers winning, but tonight I don't know. I mean, the Lightning had it right there. It was annoying how they got to the point where they were up 2-1. But they were up 2-1 with like 3:50 left. And in the next 3 minutes, they went down 4-2. So, or 3.5 minutes, they went down 4-2. So I don't think that it'll break them. They're a veteran team. There's no, and Ekblad, it's annoying because through the years, Ekblad's been up and down. Ekblad actually was playing really well. Like,
he's an excellent player.
He came back from the suspension pissed and healthy, something we've never seen from him. He's never healthy. He's always hurt. Yeah. And he's sort of an I just go about it player. He's been everywhere, and he's healthy. For the first time in his career, he literally said, yes, healthiest I've been in like years. So now to not have him, it actually matters. Like, it's really annoying to lose him right now. But I think the Hagel guy, after that hit, was sort of...
he was dazed and confused.
And he's big for the Lightning. So, look, the Lightning are going home. They're down 3-1. They're frustrated after whatever the hell that was at the end of the game. They went in the Panthers' favor. I presume they'll win tonight. Like, even though the Panthers play well there, it feels like they'll extend this series, and hopefully the Panthers can close it out in 6.
We shall see. This will tell us a lot about the character of these two teams. That's what it's all about, the character. All right, we have to get out of here. Our thanks to Tony Segreto for joining us here. Sorry we weren't able to bring you Scoops Garlic. We've been sick.
Well, I guess he has a lot going on, and I didn't remind him last night. We talked Monday night. I guess.
Oh, okay.
Whenever in the future we try to get him on again, I'll do that. I'll just remind him every hour on the hour. Grant Long is supposed to join us tomorrow. Great. So we're going to do trivia. Gergs is in for 8:15. So those trivia people, we're going to do an early edition of trivia. And from what I know, Grant Long is going to join us, and I'll just remind him a lot because I'd love to talk to him, especially with the.
Well, and of course, the significance there. Yeah, go ahead, Lubie. I was going to say, I mean, the guy's on the Detroit Pistons broadcast team. So with that game on the horizon, what would that be? That would be tomorrow night?
Yeah, they play tomorrow, don't
they? Knicks, Pistons. Tomorrow night, it's possible, but at any rate, we'll have the guy
tomorrow,
coming on there.
7:30, Knicks Pistons from Detroit.
So we get an early preview with Grant Long, so that'll be fun. All right, so we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, Lubie. Great job as always. We'll see you guys tomorrow. For Mike Lubie, Tony Segreto, I'm Jeff DeForest. See you next time as we leave it on that. And catch that Derby preview with Caton and Larry Colmus. It's very enlightening, although it's another one of those times where you're thinking, I don't care how many experts talk to me. I'm going to stick with the guy that I've been making money with.
Yeah.
And that would be one Jersey Kyle
Yeah, he's good.
Martinez. And he's been brilliant on the Derby, much like the Polyman was for many years. We've been very fortunate on Kentucky
Jersey
Derby.
kills Derby.
You even cashed on the Derby, which was great. All right, it is 9:10.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.